Hi, I'm Shalece, a compulsive eater and food addict in Phoenix, Arizona. Today we're talking about step 4 inventory. And we covered the first section was I'm resentful at. So we made a list of all the names and of people, places, and things with whom we were angry. And then the next part of our writing was the causes, and we wrote down why we were angry at these people, places, and things. So now we're going to write about how these resentments affect me. Okay, so in the big book on page 64, we'll go ahead and just read the very next section. At the bottom of page 64, it says, in most cases, we found it was in most cases, it was found that our self-esteem, our pocketbook, our ambitions, our personal relationships, including sex, were hurt or threatened. So we were sore, we were burned up. So in relationship to each resentment, we're going to decide which of these instincts or which of these things were affected in us in each of these resentments. So just whatever applies as you go down your list and you revisit each resentment and you look at it. Well, let's just say somebody stole from me. Okay, well, that affects my pocketbook. It also affects my ambitions. Or let's say somebody got the job that I wanted, or somebody let's look at that one. If somebody got a job that you wanted, maybe they affect your pocketbook, your ambitions, your self-esteem. So basically whatever instincts were affected, we want to make a list of those because we're looking for patterns here. As I was doing my step 4, I had no idea. First of all, I had no idea that I was so full of resentment. I had no idea how much anger and irritation and sadness and all of those negative emotions that I was carrying around with me. And I had no idea that those things were affecting me in these ways. And so it was really eye-opening for me to be able to put these on paper and see, oh, wow, my self-esteem is affected a lot. And just putting them on paper just solidifies everything. Lulu, I'm going to pass it over to you. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
There I go. I had trouble unmuting myself. Yeah, so basically, yep, that sentence, in most cases it was found our self-esteem, our pocketbooks, our ambitions, our personal relations, including sex, were hurt or threatened. So we were sore, we were burned up. This is big stuff and stupid stuff, right? So like big things affect us and the little stupid stuff affects us. Things affect us. Now that next paragraph, on our grudge list is our list of people, places, and things. That's the grudge list. We set opposite each name our injuries. That's the cause list, right? So the causes are the injuries. Was it our self-esteem, our security, our ambitions, our personal or sex relations which had been interfered with? We were usually as definite as this example. Okay, so now, like Shalece said, we have all the different ways that things affect us. And I have a little cheat sheet, and we're going to put that we'll put this on the maybe you can have Luca put it on the actual thing. I'm going to screen share. This is just a little cheat sheet to help you as you're going through deciding. So basically what you do is you look at all the causes, the injuries, and you say, these are all the things that they've done and to me. When I look at all of this together, this is how I feel affected by this person as a result of all these different things. If you feel 2 of the things you feel your self-esteem is affected, you just need to write self-esteem once. It's just if your self-esteem is affected as a result of this person, write it once. The list may be then maybe there may only be one thing on the list that affects your pocketbook and your money, and you're going to write it once, or maybe there's 5 things that are all about that affect your money, and you still write it once. So you're going to have an affects my list. So basically, now you're going to go on every page. So now you have every page in this Google Doc, and it says, I resent so and so causes, and now you've listed your causes. Now you skip a line and you write affects my, and down in affects my, you're going to either have one or all 6 of these ways in which we're affected by things. So you'll either have, you don't repeat it, you just write it once if you feel it from that person. And this is a way that you can, we'll have this up on the thing, up on the blog. So if my self-esteem is affected, it means I'm affected in how I think about myself, my deep belief about who I am. If my pride is affected, it's how I think others view me. So the self-esteem is how I view myself. Pride is how you are viewing me, and how I want other people to see me treated. So that might affect, I might be, my husband might yell at me in public and I resent him for that, but my pride is affected because people may see him treating me like that. And now my pride is affected because you see me as somebody who gets yelled at, right? Ambition is not just about kind of career-centered things. Ambition is all my goals, plans, and designs for the future, what I want to happen in my life. If somebody is doing something that's affecting my ambition, if I want to be, if somebody is interfering with, my ambition to move to another state or be a movie star or whatever it is that's being my ambitions being affected, what I want to happen are my ambitions. And it could very well be that I'm affected by you because you're affecting my ambitions. Security is a general sense of personal well-being, just well-being. It's not necessarily safe, but it is safe too. Like where it says something is needed in order for me to feel content and or safe. Okay. So if my security, if you are, if you're my husband and you're mean to me, then my security is affected because I'm not feeling content right now in this relationship. I might not even feel safe. If my boss is mad at me, if my boss gave me a bad review, my well-being, my safe and that would also be my ambition, might even be my pride, might even be my self-esteem. You see how like all of those kind of things would come into play in something like that with the workplace. Losing a job, income, it would also affect your pocketbook too. Personal relations would be your relations with people. And the difference between your personal relations and your sex relations are your relations with other people personally are people that you have mind spirit connections with, and sex relations are relationships with people where mind spirit body is shared to whatever extent. It's just that's how we differentiate those relationships. So like if my relationships with people, my relationships, my sexual relationships, my mind, spirit, body relationships could be affected not just by that person. It could be the person, my husband is mean to me, it affects my sex relations. It could be, something that happened to me a long time ago, which it didn't, I thank God. Some, people bring childhood trauma into their current sex relations, and the resentment against that person would, it could be even somebody that told you, no one's ever going to think you're attractive. If that's somebody, if you were told that when you were 15, nobody's ever going to want you. That person who said that, you're not in a mind, body, spirit relationship, but that resentment right there is something that affects you. It affects your sex relations today. Personal relations would be really any relationships that are affected by this person, not even just not even directly on just that person that's on that list. That person can affect, depending on what the harm's done, could affect your other personal relations too. I have if I have a friend that, I'm just thinking of an example. Oh, if, I have this group of friends and this one is talking about this one. And so that's going to affect my personal relations with really, I don't want her to go, I don't want her to talk about people because it's affecting my personal relations, not only with her, but with the other friends too. So see, it's not always about the person you're writing about, because sometimes the harm's done by the person that you're writing about is affecting you with other people. So just remember that too. And then the financial security, that's the pocketbook. Your basic desire for money, if your financial security is threatened, if your, value goes up and down according to money and income, and somebody, threatens your financial security, if I'm trying to think of examples. Oh, actually, I think I have an example, and it's actually, I'm going to screen share it. My sponsor she did an example for me. It was just a totally hypothetical one. And I scanned it. It's in her handwriting. I scanned it, and it's just a little example. Okay, so she said, you'll see it right there. It says, I resent mom because she took my piggy bank money. She winks at my boyfriend. She yells at me and puts me down. She moves a lot and didn't give me college money. So that would be somebody's resentment list on their mother. So how is it affecting you? So, she's yelling at me and putting me down. Naturally, that would affect my self-esteem. She took my piggy bank money. That would be my financial security. She winks at my boyfriend. So that would affect my relationship, my personal relationship with my mom. And it would also affect my relationship with my boyfriend. So you see how that's why those two things, she wrote relationships, but it's personal relations. And then moves a lot would affect my security, right? Not having college money would affect my ambition. So you can see how 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all 6 of them came into play here, but maybe if no college money was on this list, maybe you would never have ambition, unless you have an ambition to be married and have kids, and your mother's winking at your boyfriend. That's interfering with your ambition. If it feels like that's an ambition, you got to just feel it yourself. You got to feel these items, these injuries. You have to feel yourself. And what is it? What the same exact thing could affect you differently than me. I might feel, if I'm all wrapped up in financial insecurity, it could be that just about everything affects my financial security, even when it doesn't even make sense, because I'm filled with that fear. You could have the same thing on your list and it would affect you in a different way. So that's why it's like we just see how we're affected by life, and it's not like everything on our list is not, like we're human. We have been victims or targets of some things. We've all experienced some painful things, and as human beings, we're affected. So it's like, let's just see how life affects me, how it's been affecting me all my life, and it's just the beginning on getting some clarity on. That's going to explain why you have this list of injuries, this list of causes. It's like, why is that on my list? Oh, because look what's affected. Of course it's on my list if I'm affected by these things, you know? So it's a very, very gentle way to see how you're affected, you know? And just use that cheat sheet. There's no reason to come up with all other ideas on ways that you're affected. We can just use the ones that are in the book, because they pretty much cover it. Just the same way in the doctor's opinion, where it says we were restless, irritable, and discontent. And, you know, that could have been a list of like 45 things that we are, but those were the perfect words, the perfect 3 words, because just about anything that we're feeling falls under one of those 3. I mean, I can find it. I can find every situation that I'm going to eat again, and it will be, I'm either restless, irritable, discontent, you know? And so we just kind of stick with Bill's original words, like why make it better? It just, I don't bother. So that's why we're going to just stick with those. And then you do that for each, you go through each one and do that. And there's one other thing that I wanted to mention that I do different than my sponsor did. My sponsor had me do one person at a time, write their name, their causes, how it affects me, my fears, how was I selfish, how was I self-seeking, how was I dishonest. And it was so overwhelming for me to break down each one and understand each one. And I felt like it took me so long to like actually get it. And when my daughter started college a few years ago, she's at the Maharishi University in Fairfield, Iowa. And it's a real earthy, crunchy, hippie doodle school. And they all meditate, light incense, and kumbaya. It's a wonderful college, and she loves it there. She's in a writing classes. So when I asked her first semester, I was like, so what are your courses this semester? And she's like, oh, it's just one. And I was like, I thought you were going there to go full time. And she said, oh, she goes, this school does it different. Instead of taking 4 classes all at once for the whole semester, they do one at a time, 4 times in a row for the semester. So every day, all day, they're in this one course. Every day, all day, they're in the math course until they take their midterm and their final. It might happen over 2.5, 3 weeks or whatever. Then they start the next one. So they're hyper focused on each one. And I thought, oh, that is like really cool. I've never heard of such a thing. And it came into my mind that that's the way to get some real good quality step work. And it doesn't conflict with anything in the big book, because the big book doesn't say, write it all at once about each person and then move to the next one. I'm not conflicting with anything in the big book, but I have found that before, when I was working with people, it was mass confusion and a little bit less quality of writing, because it was too much to like everything we just said about causes and affects my. And now you have to understand the next one and that whole presentation, and then you're doing it all at once. And I'm just telling you that it's been a beautiful thing to watch people just do one thing at a time for everybody, one thing at a time for everybody. Because at the end of it all, we're going to be looking at the whole picture on that one person from beginning to end. But it's written in pieces so that you're very hyper focused on and getting really good at digging and finding things. So that's what I've brought to my step work. And if you have a sponsor that does it different, do it like your sponsor does it. But this blog spot is for the way that Shalece and I have been brought through it, because I don't have any other way to share. So it's just, that's the way I've done it. And we started the blog spot, so we're just speaking from experience. So there are other ways to do it. I don't want to knock any other way to do it, but it will conflict with with what we do here. But we're just kind of